which legendary Spirit Affinity damage dealers hit the hardest? Let's go find out. Hey there guys, it's Ryan Raids and welcome to the video. Guys, the weekend is fast approaching and hopefully you're getting some well-deserved time off. So in today's video, what we're going to be doing is ranking the top 10 hardest hitting damage dealers for Spirit Affinity Legendary champions. So yeah, let's find out who smacks the hardest. So the same as before, we've come to the Hell Hades website and the Raid Shadow Legends tier list. We've obviously filtered out legendary champions that are Spirit Affinity and they're all damage dealers, and I've gone through every single one of these and written down which skill hits the hardest to their ranking. So let's say we went into, I'll do them what isn't on the list. So let's say Cupidus. So then what I do is I come on down to the skills like so, and if you hover over that skill, it will give you his rankings, how hard that skill hits the game in each area. So he's got a godlike rating on all of them. So like, let's say for example, Clan Boss, he's godlike and is rated 119 out of all skills for Clan Boss, but damage wise. So we're going to go late to endgame content, and he is currently ranked 147th hardest hitting damage dealer. That skill is in the late to endgame content. So that's how we're going to make our list, and we've gone from 10th all the way up to 1st, and I've got a few honorable mentions as well. So yeah, let's go see who's in the top 10. Right, let's kick this off then. Let's kick this off. And in 10th position, we are going to the Dwarves. And the 10th hardest hitting Spirit Affinity Legendary is Gnut, who was a fusion, so a lot of us have actually got Gnut, and it is his A3. So he attacks one enemy 3 times. Each hit decreases the target's defense by 3%, stacks up to 30%. Each hit also heals his champion by 30% of the damage dealt, and his damage is based off defense and enemy max HP. So yeah, he hits quite hard. Great for bosses, great for boss fights, absolutely wallops. So he is currently ranked number 71, 71st hardest hitting skill in the game for damage dealers for late to end game content. So yeah, Gnut comes in 10th position. So next up, we are heading to the Orcs. Hold up there guys, click the link in the description right now to get the epic champion Uugo for free, as well as 2 more amazing free epics as you level up. Here are the exact steps you need to follow. Step 1, log out of Plarium Play on the PC and uninstall. Step 2, click the link in the description and register with a brand new email. Step 3, launch Raid and complete the tutorial. Step 4, go to your inbox and claim your first champion. Here we go. You'll find Uugo here, as well as Tagoar and Rector Drath as you level out your account. If you've been watching the free-to-play series that I've been involved in, you will know how good these epics really are. Then use the promo code SUPREME6 to get yourself a crazy Void Legendary in Supreme Gaelic. So get yourself an amazing start in Raid Shadow Legends by clicking on the link and following the steps. And in 9th position, it is Varl the Destroyer, who you get from Doom Tower Collection Fragments. I haven't actually got this guy myself yet. I'm still waiting to pick him up. Look pretty sweet. I think he's really good in Hydra actually. I have seen a lot of people use him in Hydra. Yeah, he's pretty sweet. And it is his A3. Attacks one enemy. We ignore 30% of the target's defense. Destroys the target's max HP by 50% of the damage inflicted. Places a block damage buff on this champion for 1 turn if this attack kills an enemy. And this skill is currently ranked 69th hardest hitting skill for late to endgame content. So he literally just comes right in behind Gnut. Right in behind Gnut. What else does this guy do? What else does he do? Attacks one enemy, heals this champion by 30% of the damage inflicted on his A1. A2, attacks all enemy, has a 75% chance, booked up to 100% chance of placing a weaken, and he also places a decreased attack on the enemies who receive a weaken debuff as well. And his passive increases his champion's attack by 10% each time they use an active skill, stacks up to 100%, reset each round. So yeah, this guy, Varl the Destroyer, is currently in 9th position. So in 8th position, we are headed over to the Demon Spawn, and it is Mortu-Macaab. I actually recently pulled this guy on the free-to-play, and I still haven't built him out yet. Still haven't built him out. I've had other options. So what we saying? It is this skill here. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Will ignore shield and block damage buffs as well as defense. Enemies killed by this skill cannot be revived. Damage is based off HP And this is currently ranked 46 hardest hitting skills in the game for late game content. So that puts him in 8th position for Spirit Affinity Legendary NUKERS. So yeah, not a bad skill. Not a bad skill. It is single target though. It is single target. And it will go through shield and block damage buff as well as all their defense. So absolutely wipes out a single target enemy. And he can also be extremely annoying in arena when he's just sat there in 2-turn stone skin and you can't get rid of him and he's just slapping you down and block reviving you. So where are we headed to next? We are in the Lizardman faction and it is Teox, my most wanted legendary champion. This guy is so cool. He is so cool. And it is his A2 that is in 7th position. So he attacks one enemy 3 times. Each hit will ignore 10% of the target's defense for each debuff on the target. Stacks up to 50%. Each hit will also increase this champion's attack by 10%. Also stacks up 50%. And he gets an extra turn if this attack kills an enemy. So yeah, he absolutely wallops. So he is in 7th position for legendary damage dealers within the game. Yeah, he's quality. Next time in there is event. You can only get him through prism shards, I've been told. I was there cheering myself on last time I did a massive pull session trying to get him. And yeah, I was just pulling for nothing. But next time in there is a prism event on the main. With him in, I'm going to be going for this guy. I'm going to be going for it. Most wanted legendary in the game. Quality looking. Right, that puts Teox's A2 ranked 40th hardest hitting skill in the game for late to end game content. So who is up next? And we are in the Skinwalkers for the free login champion Son Wukong. I think you can still get him in a promo code if you're a new player for Monkey King. And it is his A2. Attacks one enemy, will ignore 50% of the target's defense. Will attack all remaining enemies with any surplus damage if the target is killed. This attack will also ignore 50% of the target's defense. This attack cannot be critical. If the initial target survives, places a sheep debuff on them for 1 turn. This cannot be blocked and he scales off attack. So this skill is ranked 30th out of all damage dealing skills in the game for late to end game content. And that's why this puts Wukong in 6th position for Spirit Affinity based legendary NUKERS. And he hits really hard. Really hard. They must have some wallops in Spirit Affinity because he is 6th position and he smacked. So the top 5 must absolutely hammer hard. So the top 5 incoming, and where are we off to next? And we are in the Dark Elves for Ruel the Huntmaster, and it is his A2. Attacks all enemies, places an extra hit on enemies under Hex debuff. We ignore 25% of each target's defense if there are 4 or more enemies under a Hex debuff. So yeah, this apparently hits 5th hardest out of all Spirit Affinity legendary NUKERS. And this skill is actually ranked 26th hardest hitting skill in the game for late endgame content. I've never actually had this guy. I've never come across him, but I think how Hades pulled him on the free-to-play challenge and couldn't get him going. But what else does he do? He's got attacks one enemy, decreased defense on the A1. He places increased accuracy on all allies, then a Hex debuff on all enemies. He's also got a perfect veil, decreases the speed of enemies under Hex by 5% and resistance by 10%. Right. So yeah, this absolutely wallops apparently. 5th hardest hitting skill out of all Spirit Affinity legendary NUKERS. So yeah, he looks pretty cool to be fair. I don't know what he's supposed to be, but yeah, he does look pretty cool. But I've never seen like a great deal of people rave about him, even though he hits that hard. And it is an AoE. It is an AoE to be fair. So then, in 4th position, we are staying in the Dark Elves. And it is Queen Eva, or Ava, however you say her name. And it is her A2. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Ignores 50% of the target's defense. Has an extra 15% chance of inflicting a crit. Enemies killed by this skill cannot be revived. So this skill is currently ranked 20th hardest hitting skill in the whole game for late to end game content. So she absolutely smacks on this A2, and that puts her in 4th position. So she's 20th hardest hitting skill in the entire game for damage dealers, and that only puts her in 4th position for Spirit Affinity NUKERS. So they must have some absolute beasts above. They must have some absolute beasts. So yeah, she is in 4th position, Queen Eva, or Ava, however you want to say her name. Yeah, she looks pretty cool to be fair. I haven't ever had her. I've never had her. But yeah, she hits hard. What does she do? A1. Attacks the enemy. She's got heal reduction and a block buffs. Aura's crit rate in all battles by 19%. Then she got an AoE on her A3, turn meter reduction by 20%. And then she resets the cooldowns on each of this champion's skills if any of the targets is killed. Okay, so she resets herself if she kills someone. Interesting. I haven't seen much about her. I haven't seen many people use her, but I don't know. So yeah, Queen Eva is in 4th position. Right, top 3 incoming, and we are going to a repeat offender for position number 3, and it is Teox from the Lizardman. Has the 3rd hardest hitting skill for Spirit based Affinity NUKERS. So this is why I want him so badly. 2 of his skills are in the top 10 for Spirit Affinity Legendary NUKERS, plus 2 of his skills are in the top 50 for hardest hitting damage dealing skills across the entire game. And it is his A3, attacks all enemies. Before attacking, places 50% increased attack and a 30% increased crit damage buff on this champion for 2 turns. Places an extra hit on enemies under any debuffs. And obviously he's a unity guy and he's got all these extra bits down here. So 1 faction ally ignores strengthen, ally protect and shield. If there's 2, if enemies are killed by this skill under any debuff, places a block revive. If there's 3, deals 20% more damage for each debuff on the enemy, stacked at 100%. So if there's 3 Lizardmen, he absolutely wants. Yeah, when he's next in a Prism event, I'm going for this guy hard, really hard. Yeah, this is why. This is the reason why. So his A3 is ranked 15th hardest hitting skill in the game for late to end game content. And then his A2 was 40th hardest hitting. So yeah, sub top 50 for both skills. Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy. I can remember when Hell Hades pulled like 3 of him in like a Prism Shard session. Was nuts. Was absolutely nuts. But yeah, this guy, 3rd position. But he's only in 3rd position. And his A3 is the 15th hardest hitting skill for endgame content. So who is in the top 2? Who is in the top 2? So in 2nd position, we are off to the High Elves. And it is the Ruel Huntsman who takes 2nd position for hardest hitting Spirit Affinity Legendary damage dealers. So this guy must absolutely smack. And it is his A3. Attacks one enemy, will ignore 100% of the enemy's defense. So completely basic, single target, absolute cannon, will ignore all their defense. So that is why he is ranked 2nd in the list. And this skill is currently ranked 12th hardest hitting damage dealing skill for late to endgame content. So he only just pips out Teox for 2nd spot. So I haven't really come across this guy much. I don't know what he's up to. He looks pretty cool, to be fair. He looks all right. So on his A1, attacks one enemy, places a 50% increased attack buff on this champion for 2 turns if it's a crit. So he's got an AoE and places a 60% decreased defense debuff on the target for 2 turns if this attack is critical. And then he's obviously got his cannon, and then he's got increases spirit ally attack in all battles by 38%. So yeah, that's a bit like you gotta have all spirit allies in your team to really benefit from that. That's a bit trash, I think. That's a bit trash. So yeah, this guy, Ruel Huntsman, is in 2nd position. So who is taking top spot? And we are off to the Undead Hordes. And in top position, so the hardest hitting Spirit Affinity damage dealer for late to endgame content, Herakletes, I think his name is. This guy here, the faction unity guy for the Undead Hordes. And it is his A2. Attacks one enemy, will ignore 100% of the target's defense. If the target was killed, revives a random dead ally with 50% HP and 50% turn meter. If the target was killed and there are no dead allies, resets the cooldown of this skill instead. Damage based on defense. So he is the hardest hitting Spirit Affinity damage dealer. And this skill is currently ranked number 1 top spot for hardest hitting damage dealers in the entire game for late to end game content. So he is the hardest hitting guy there is on this skill here, ranked number 1. So what else does he do? He's got attacks one enemy, places a true fear, and this cannot be resisted or blocked if the champion is dead. Right. If this champion is dead, also heals all allies by 20% of their max HP. And then A3, attacks all enemy, destroys the max HP of all enemies by 10%, and he places a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns. The value of the shield is equal to the amount of the enemies destroyed max HP. Then he's got a load of stuff going on here for his faction unity stuff. And then his passive, Whenever this champion is revived, increases the damage inflicted by this champion by 20%. Stacks up to 200%. So that's why. So if he keeps getting revived and stacks his damage up to 200%, then goes in with this wallop and ignores 100% defense, yeah, he hits. He's got the potential to hit really, really hard. So yeah, this guy, he looks really cool as well, actually. He looks really, really cool. Yeah, crazy good. Absolutely crazy good. So yeah, he is in top spot. So then, I do have a couple honorable mentions. However, every guy in this top 10, their skill is sub 100 hardest hitting skills in the game. And these two just missed out. So the first one is the Cheshire Cat of the Demon Spawn. And it is his A2, attacks one enemy 3 times. Each hit will decrease the enemy's speed by 1%, stacks up to 10%. This effect does not work against bosses. Each hit will also increase this champion's speed by 1% and then stacks up to 10% as well. If this skill kills an enemy, places a perfect veil on this champion and the ally with the lowest turn meter for 2 turns. Damage is based off attack and speed. So yeah, this A2 is ranked 106 hardest hitting skill for late to endgame content. So yeah, he just misses out. Looks really cool as well. Looks really cool. Part of the Alice in Wonderland event. Yeah, looks pretty cool. And then the second honorable mention goes to another undead horde in Mashald, and it is his A1. Attacks one enemy, heals his champion by 30% of the damage inflicted. Will then attack enemies under leech. So yeah, this skill here, it is an A1 single target, but this skill is 107th hardest hitting skill in the game. So yeah, he again just missed out because all the other guys were sub 100 in the list. So yeah, he gets an honorable mention as well. So yeah, that is all the champions in the Spirit Affinity Legendary NUKERS list who hit the hardest. Anyway guys, that is a list done and dusted. I hope you find these type of videos a bit of fun. I don't mind doing them. I think they're quite interesting to see what type of champions are around, and it increases our champion knowledge as we go through. Anyway, that is it for today's video, and I will catch you in the next one.